We want to thank our amazing sponsor, the rope drop queen herself, Michelle McKnight. She is a destination specialist with touring plans and can help you plan an amazing vacation. Whether it's Disney, Universal, a cruise, or an all-inclusive, she can help you with booking, planning, and strategizing to help you have an incredible experience at a great rate. Contact her today at michelle@touringplans.com. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney, and today is a big episode. Doug, you just got back from the 50th celebration at Walt Disney World.
Yes, it was very iridescent, Derek.
Wow, and we're going to be talking all sorts of things. I'm talking Harmonious, Enchantment, Kite Tails. We got Space 220 review, your incredible room, restaurant reviews. We have a lot to get to today. It is a big show.
It is. So let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Let's thank some patrons.
We
Derek.
will. Thank you to longtime patrons of the show, Patrick Urell and Lauren Shields. Thank you so much for supporting Rope Drop Radio. We have a good Patreon show that we'll be talking more about Doug's VIP tour, another awesome thing he got to do. So if you want to hear about that and more, you're going to have to click in that show notes and become a Patreon. Now, Doug, we've been promoting the review for the last couple weeks. Who is our big 50th anniversary review?
One this week, and thank you to everybody that's been leaving them. That makes me happy on the inside and the outside. All right, this one is titled Great Podcasts. It's a GR and an 8.
Oh,
I figured that
fancy.
out. Yeah, before I went great. Yeah. Anyway, it's by, if I just pronounce this as one word, it's Dredahu. But I think it's Dr. Ederho.
Okay.
No, I think it's Drea Donahue.
There you go.
I think that's what it is. All right. Anyway, Rope Drop Radio was so helpful for our first trip to Walt Disney World in 2019. We are getting ready to go again as a family of 6 and need all the help we can get.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All
I'm
right.
pretty sure that's Andrea, one of our Patreons, family of 6. But thank you so much for leaving that review. And thank you, everyone who's been leaving reviews. Keep that up. Help the show get out there. It means the world to us. But, Doug, we couldn't do this show alone. So many of our reviewers always say, we love when Michelle's on. Bring Michelle on more. And that's what we did today because she is the rope drop queen. And she helped guide you around Walt Disney World for a few days and make sure, Doug, you got to do all the things. So, Michelle, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me again.
All right. Well, Doug, this is a big trip, but it's a lot of firsts, but also a lot of last.
Yeah, we got to start with the last. It was the end of Happily Ever After. And we got off our plane, went to the rental car, slowly paused while I picked one out, and then drove right to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, not a lot of time for error.
But I still picked out a rental car, as I always do. Yeah. And so we got there. The crowds had already assembled, I think is the right word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We were quite a ways down Main Street, but we did get to watch the last Happily Ever After. It was pretty good. A lot of shoulder children, but
Yeah, like perfectly framed shoulder
like,
children.
stand there. I can see the castle. Oh, shoulder child that's not even watching. They just went down, but the parents
At one
insisted.
point, one of the shoulder kids had a phone. Like
Filming
the
it?
parents wanted them to film it, and I'm pretty sure it was facing
Just
the ground.
like the top of somebody's head is all they got from their child.
Things what not to do at Walt Disney World. Plus, I love all the phones nowadays because it blows my mind. It's like sometimes you just got to enjoy the moment. How many times are you going to go back and watch that phone video?
Not many. I took little clips here and there. I think you filmed.
I just did little clips.
Little
There was
clips,
no
yeah.
way I could get a clear view.
Yeah.
So,
It was just good to watch and enjoy.
Was it emotional? Could you feel like people were a little sad that it was going away? I was sad.
I think if we would have had a better spot,
If we're closer.
because the dedicated people, I think
We're there at 2.
Kendall Mullins was way up front, if I remember right.
Like up by the partner statue. The person that got their spot originally got there at 2.
Oh, wow.
The
Yeah.
show was at
We were back with Seth.
8:15. Yeah, we were like 20 feet from Seth Kabursky of the Unofficial Guide. But yeah, it's sad to see it go. But at that point, I was kind of excited to see what we got
something
to
new
see
on the
next
way.
night.
Yeah.
So let's move into that. I'll let Michelle say the name of the show because I say it wrong every time.
Oh, we're talking about Enchantment.
Yes.
Enchantment. He kept calling it Enchanted, but it's Enchantment is
You've
the
done it
new
on the
night.
show a couple times too, Doug.
Yeah.
I think Enchantment is
Enchanted
a
is a
Disney
movie.
Cruise Line show too.
Enchantment?
I don't know. They all sound like Disney Cruise Line stage
They
shows.
only have a list of like 38 names for Disney to pick from. Magical,
That's it.
wonderful wishes, all the things. So
There's a dartboard and a monkey, and that's how they get it. And so we
that that
watched
is
in
that is a fair statement to call Bob Chapek, by the way.
what
A
Bob
monkey.
JPEG?
There you go.
Oh, I don't think he's even involved enough to be the monkey. No, so the next night was a media preview of Enchantment. We're not Disney's media that gets invited to that. No. So we watched with 400 or so of our closest friends from the Polynesian beach. We thought we were being really smart going there like, oh, we'll go watch that. Yeah, so did everybody else. And so watching from across the lagoon, obvious things to point out here about Enchantment and the first time we saw it, pyro is bigger. Pyro is better. It changes colors.
Ooh.
It does some things I haven't seen before. Like I don't think that's an understatement. Pyro is bigger and better.
Yeah, I would say it's bigger. I don't think there's like as much in like one little instance. Like Happily Ever After seemed to have like more at the exact same time.
They
like,
had like gaps.
Yeah.
They had gaps with no pyro, and then it's like, oh, we forgot to blow everything up, and they blew everything up. This is just more consistent, I think.
Yeah, I would say that.
So if you
Yeah.
can't see the castle, there's something more regularly to watch.
Yep. And they did pipe in the music, so we were able to see it.
We were worried
listen,
that
sorry.
because it wasn't an official showing, it was a preview
Oh, makes
for
sense.
invited guests. We thought the Poly wouldn't play the music, but they did. The music, it is kind of what it is. It's like greatest hits.
Yeah.
Right?
I expected like I don't want to take anything away from it, but I expected more like traditional or like going back to the roots or
It's
like
the 50th.
more like I mean, not that you want to hear Snow White, any kind of music from it, but because it's just so not
Something
dimensional.
that has that classic Disney flavor. I get it.
Yeah.
It was a lot of Moana, right?
I think there was two Moana
Two
songs.
different
Oh,
Moana
wow.
sections. There
New
was
Frozen.
Into the Unknown, which is great. I love that.
Yeah.
And that was probably one of the best segments of the show, actually. The Into the Unknown, especially when you see it in the park. Because the fireworks match up with the animation on the castle, like when she shoots her arm off, there's a firework that goes out that looks like ice, except it's fire, so it's not ice. But yeah, the song doesn't ever say. So there's a song at the beginning and the end. They didn't really push that like they did with Happily Ever After. Like we knew the artist, we saw a music video, all this stuff. None of that leading into this. So it was an unknown song to us. First time we're hearing it. If they did push it on social media, we all missed it.
I
At
must
least I
have.
did.
Yeah.
I think they kind of did with a little video, but anyway, it doesn't have that same draw that like Jordan Fisher had. You know, there wasn't that key element.
I mean, I feel like obviously I'm impartial to Jordan
Well, you're
Fisher.
very impartial because you saw him perform it
Yeah.
live in the park the
But-
first time they showed Happily Ever After. So everything you say we have to take.
But
with a grain of
watching
salt.
it from the Poly Beach and listening, and then also watching it from inside the park, I've already started to. I mean, you can definitely it ties together the beginning and the end.
Mhm.
You are the magic. They didn't pick a good title.
No, the title of the show, I'm going to henceforth only refer to this show as You Are the Magic.
Okay.
And once you see it, you'll know why.
It's catchy. I like the song. It's good.
I think it's going to grow on us. It's got a weird villain section in the middle, but guess what? So did Happily Ever After. It was
It
like,
did.
oh, we got to put Johnny Depp in here, get the crowbar out and put him in. You know, they didn't quite do that on this one. It wasn't even that crowbarred in. So it was good. Great pyro.
It definitely was getting beat up on Twitter. Diz Twitter, by the way, while
Twitter
you were
is
down there,
evil.
was
My gosh.
hilarious to follow along with.
I don't think it deserves as much criticism as Twitter.
But it's
gives
going
it.
up against Happily Ever After. There was nothing wrong with it. Is the problem?
That's the
Yeah.
problem. The only thing that really improved from Happily Ever After to You Are the Magic is the pyro got bigger and
The projections looked brighter and more animated, and I saw all of Main Street. I felt like was
Main Street just looked like lights.
never mind.
Yeah, that I think that was the part that I was the most disappointed in was
I thought
I
expected characters and
well, I expected it to be like Disneyland's when they projected all the stuff down Main Street. I just it wasn't there because we watched it from the train station the next night and
yes, our second watch was from the train station. Alex hooked us up with a special viewing area because he was like our fairy godmother on this trip. So there's your soundbite for the show. Anyway, but so we weren't on Main Street. So we're looking forward to watching it from the hub in the soup of people, but we didn't watch it from the soup ever on this trip. But yeah, the projections. I mean, there was more than lights. When I say it just was lights, it was definitely projections, but it wasn't like it was like when a Little Mermaid section there was bubbles. It wasn't like
So they
Sebastian
could
would
do
swim.
more. That's what we're getting at. There could be more to it.
Yeah.
Well,
On to
here's
the
my
next
question.
thing.
Let's get on to
Okay.
the next thing. But first,
Yes.
so Happily Ever After lasted 4 years and some change. Wishes lasted forever. How long is this one? What is your over under?
When there's the next CEO.
Okay.
It's just like a football coach that's
Yeah.
been struggling.
You know what? Makes
Hire a
sense.
new AD, and they get the time to replace it. I think if they replace it too fast, then it looks bad for all the executives. So they're going to hang on to it just like you hang on to a coach that's gone like 4-8 for 5 years in a row.
Okay. Sounds good. I like that over under on that one. Makes sense. So
And,
let's.
and by the way, Nebraska has a new AD. So,
Yes. Yes,
yeah.
we do.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the next new nighttime show, Doug.
Okay. Harmonious. We watched this twice as well. Once from an okay spot,
Replacing Epcot Forever.
which is some people said they liked Epcot Forever a lot. I'm not one of those people. Epcot Forever was, I thought, almost embarrassing for the Walt Disney Company to put out. The soundtrack was
wow.
bad. It was yeah. So Harmonious, we watched from Morocco, right across from the Morocco bathrooms. So it's a little bit further at an angle. The lagoon is not a circle. That side with Morocco and France and United Kingdom is further from the show. Then the next time we watched it was from our Alex hooked us up with a special viewing area that was a little to the left of center as you come into the World Showcase.
so right at Port of Entry.
Port of Entry. Let me tell you, watching it from the center is a big deal.
Oh, that's a good tip.
It was much better, much more entertaining. Pyro bigger than Illuminations. Illuminations barely had any pyro throughout the show. So that's not really saying much. But with bigger pyro means bigger fallout. So check the wind. We saw one poor little girl on the bridge between France and the United Kingdom crying and they're looking in her eye. So always check the wind when you're watching a show at Epcot. Overall, it was enjoyable. The fountains and the moving arm things were pretty crazy. Did some cool stuff. There's animation on the screens, on the water screen. Some of the songs they picked, I don't know why it's in Epcot.
I mean, some of them were obvious, like they had Brave,
Yes.
so you're thinking around the
United
world.
Kingdom, right? And they also
They
had
had
Moana.
Lion King, which they probably need to.
No, not Moana. Mulan.
They had Mulan. Yeah, that was a good one.
And Mulan was performed in Chinese.
Oh,
So
there you go. Okay, I see
so,
where they're
like,
going. I like that.
most of Coco Diego, most of that was
Yeah, it
also
was
in Spanish.
Yeah.
With hints of English. Same thing with Mulan. And there was some other Moana was in another language at one point too. But yes, Lion King, there was a lot of Lion King and
In all three shows.
yeah. And Lion King has its own park basically.
Yeah.
It
Animal Kingdom.
doesn't need to be everywhere.
No.
You have so
I
many
mean, you do have
different
the African
properties.
outpost at Epcot. I see how you shoehorn this in a little bit.
That's it though. Like we're gonna put 2 segments of one show based off a outpost. I mean, it's literally a Coca-Cola stand as I use it anyway. So I thought they could have picked some things a little different. And Harmonious is the name of it. There's no narration, beginning, middle, or end. No narration. It just starts with music, goes. So the storytelling, which Disney prides itself on storytelling, that's the aspect that was missing, was the story. but the features, the water, the arms moving, the pyro, I mean, at one time they launched fireworks from around the shore, so it was like that scares everybody. It was cool. It was a cool show. They could have asked me to do some narration and it would have been better. I think that's yeah.
I'm sure that would help so
Yeah.
much. Michelle, do you
Angela
like it?
It was, so I've never liked an Epcot show.
Ever. No,
ever.
she's just that way.
So this is the top of that, if that helps people.
Okay.
I don't know. I did like that it ties in more to Disney, and I did like that they tried to get like different countries or languages.
Other languages. That's cool.
That was good. I don't like that you have to be pretty much center on to watch it, because you have this big lagoon and you know, everyone's kind of lined up all around it, but you're getting a huge difference in show if you're watching it from, say, well, I don't know. France, Norway.
Well, and you're trying to push those restaurants. Like, that's what I loved about Illuminations, where I could get an adult beverage and watch it almost anywhere and have a decent view.
I think the view from straight over at China to Norway would be decent, but you couldn't see the circular water screen.
Yeah.
Because we were much further away from the stuff in Morocco, France.
That's true. Yeah.
China and that area is going to be much closer to it. So I think that whole side works well, which is good because the wind usually blows towards France. Usually. Not all the time. Always check.
All those waterside restaurants, you know, you're trying to push those for the end of the night.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, if you want to watch it from straight on, one side of the lagoon, you can't watch it from straight on because there's a theater that doesn't open up and let you see. So in the American Adventure, there's not much viewing
They probably
area.
should like carve out the back of the wall.
They need to take out the back wall of the theater, have a curtain that they can pull up, and you can fill the theater full of people to watch the show.
That's a really good idea, Doug. I like it.
Or rooftop seating.
That was my idea.
That was hers.
Michelle
that was
idea.
right.
Never mind.
I told him that.
It's just like photo
I'm
credit.
sure other people have said it, but
they need rooftop seating at the theater or something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
That would be the ideal place to watch it.
The issue is, if you do want to see it straight on, you're going to have to line up early, at least for the first few months here.
The first year, it's going to be
hours early. Now, if you are okay with like standing behind people, not taking videos,
or you're 6'5",
just like there was plenty of spot along the
self. Got to get there early. Got it.
There's enough crowd that they even put down the fake tape at Epcot, which usually doesn't happen.
They have the tape at Epcot.
It'll be interesting to see in 6 months how much this is like Epcot Forever. You get a good seat within like 3 months, so we'll see.
Yeah, but that was a horrible show.
Okay, well let's move.
This definitely has. Sorry, one more thing. This definitely has more for the kids and keep them interested.
Yes.
So it's worth, trying to get a front spot along the lagoon so the kids can see the animation.
They want to see the screens, yeah.
Okay.
So,
well, one thing that Epcot Forever had that I like that Doug didn't like were the kites. Moving on to our next show, Animal Kingdom's got the kites now for Kite Tails. Woohoo! And I have never had so much fun. Our Twitter family and friends and everyone on our social media has had fun with Doug's posts and things about Kite Tails. So let's fly in, Doug. What did you think of Kite Tails? Give me your honest opinion.
The honest opinion at Kite Tails is Epcot Forever ended. And they're like, we have 20 jet skis. What are we going to do with these? I know. Let's drive them around the lagoon at Animal Kingdom. And then it grew.
Tiny lagoon.
Tiny. It's not big. And so once the jet skis get going, that water gets choppy. And it did not look like fun to be on those jet skis after the show got going. And literally, if you've been on Twitter and you've seen the, artwork, the before the artwork, and then you've seen like the after,
great. It's fun.
It's spot on. The balloons they're balloons, the big characters. They're not kites, right? They have a kite that holds them up, but like Macy Day balloons, miniaturized and made halfway with the detail. It's not up to the Walt Disney World standards, I don't think. Like, it's questionable that who greenlit this is fine. Who approved it? Like, yeah, it's ready. You probably should look in the mirror, because the kites some of them are frightening. I'm just Well, they don't look like Baloo. They don't look like the character good enough. Like, I don't know.
I think the kites
Nightmare
are
inducing to
fine.
me. Anyway, the theater it's in was built for nighttime shows. The sun blazes in there and you melt. You literally melt in that theater. Like, they have stone seats in the front, and Alex's wife sat down there and basically jumped back up because it burnt her, right? So have to sit in the wooden seats because the stone ones are too hot. That's Animal Kingdom though. Um, it's they don't ever use DuckTales theme song, which is
Or
like the
characters.
biggest swing and a miss. I I don't understand how they don't use DuckTales ever. That would have made it 1,000 times better. And then it's like they forgot they needed to think about where to land the kites,
Oh, that's been
and they
great.
thought
I love it. If you haven't
that
seen that, go on social media, check out these guys landing.
yeah, I've posted some on Twitter, and it's just in the seats. And like the first shows, you're like, is that on purpose? Was that an accident? You're not really sure. It's on purpose, but maybe put like a big target over there or something, so that or put a sign that says landing zone, so half the crowd's not laughing when it happens the first and second and third time. Um, and then they have little kites, people just walking around with little kites,
That's what
which
amused me. Those people.
like
If I could be
that's
a
where we're
cast
at now.
member, that's the job I want. There you go.
Just
Just
walking around with a
walking around with
kite.
a kite.
It's one step above the dude with the bubbles and the hula hoops, right? Michelle, what are your thoughts? I've been rambling.
I don't know. It just Animal Kingdom desperately needed something like a show to get off your feet
It needs it
to
still.
draw people into different locations, but I don't feel like this was it. It was, I mean, it was fun because I was constantly watching to see if a jet ski was going to flip
Yeah,
or
that was
to
what.
see if, well, after we left, then there was a kite stuck in a tree.
Yeah, we missed that.
So, I mean, you just never know what might happen because everything's
That's
unpredictable.
that's the reason to go.
But that's not what Disney wanted us to see.
If you go to car races to watch the wrecks, Kite Tails is for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm
Ooh, this is
typing it.
perfect for me.
I'm typing out kind of like a tip sheet. I'm still working on it if you're one of my clients and going in the next few weeks. But I literally say, I don't even know if this is still going to be there when you go next week. So
Oh,
we'll
wow.
see.
I like they've already had some jet ski issues. They've had kites get stuck in trees.
They've had
There's
the
a
greatest, but the
ton.
memes are viral. I mean, it was one of the top trending things on Twitter, guys. I mean, that's free publicity for them. People are now going to see the jet
Like I
skis
said, a car
flipping.
wreck.
Yep.
I don't know that it's worth the sunburn.
No, that's true.
If they
Like,
would have
don't
like
go
built in some
early.
shade during the pandemic, like when
It
it was paused or closed,
it's not hard to put a little canopy shade over a theater of
but
that
here's the other thing.
size.
You don't really need to sit and wait for hours because
No
one,
one else
they're
is.
frequent. They're about
Mm.
every hour, but also no one's going.
We were
So
there
you
on
can
the
just walk
opening
up.
day,
Yeah.
like
Well, but
on the
everyone was in
50th.
Magic Kingdom. So
True.
that's
They were
different.
all in line and still in line for popcorn buckets. But holy cow, Kite Tails.
I am excited to take Callum. He'll be 4, and we'll get a good, honest review if that is the demographic they're
He'll
going for.
That might
Fingers
be it.
crossed,
I
it's
hope
still
it's
there.
but yeah, if it's still there, if OSHA hasn't shut it down, because you got jet skis with all these ropes attached to a kite that can turn over at any moment. That does not. I guess there's just a lot less waves over at World Showcase Lagoon because
Mhm.
it's huge, so they could have 4 jet skis driving around. I don't know, and it's a ton of cast. There's like
That's what I
6
was
people
like,
per
wow,
kite.
that's a lot of if you're gonna spend money on cast members, I figured there could be some better areas that they could serve.
A lot.
That was
Like
my thought.
maybe just open the other cash registers at Woody's Lunchbox. But like the show itself is probably not worth the amount of gas they're putting into the jet skis.
That's hilarious. All right.
That's my opinion. All right, let's
Let's
move
move
on to
on to
something else that was good
we
and underwhelming at the
we
same
made
time.
fun of statues quite a bit. They're promoting them pretty hard, by the way, and you got to check them all out. So, Doug, how did Walt Disney World do on these great statues that I've seen?
Some of them are really good. I really like the ones around the hub at the Magic Kingdom. Those are probably my
Is this a
favorite. And
good
I
source
like
of resources for Disney to do as well? That's been the
Yeah,
other.
because
Okay.
it's you pay one thing and you put it there and it's there,
Okay.
right? No cast involved, nothing like that.
Well, and there was PhotoPass photographers at
By
different times, not always,
by
but
Mickey and Minnie and by Donald and Goofy.
yeah.
Yeah, around the hub. But I really enjoyed the ones like Orange Bird or Abu that are kind of hidden and you kind of have to look for them. That's what I expected 90% of it to be based off the characters they picked. Um, but they're not. So at like Hollywood Studios, they're just all around the hub rather than in their respective
Oh,
lands.
so like droids are not by the droid depot.
No, did we see R2 and BB-8? I can't confirm that. We didn't go into
But
Hollywood
Woody and Jesse
Studios
were
much.
not,
Woody and Jesse are right there on the
or
hub.
not, sorry, Woody and Bo Peep, I
Bo
think.
Peep, yeah,
Oh,
Woody
see
and Bo
that in
Peep.
my mind it makes sense. Put them in the land.
Yeah, or somewhere in there, or
Mm-hmm.
like Orange Bird was kind of hidden back in Adventureland. It was cool.
Okay,
Orange,
see that
yeah,
I like.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was great.
And Abu
Abu was
was,
on the
yeah.
sign into Adventureland. That was perfect. Where like you get to Epcot and Olaf and Bernie, our little newt friend, or Beanie, I don't know his name. I still can't remember. Anyway, they're right there as you enter the World Showcase with Rocket Raccoon next door.
That doesn't
And
make sense at all. Put them in, right by Frozen.
yeah. So
Okay.
they're together. I think if you spread them out, make me go find them, they'd be way better. We didn't see any in Animal Kingdom.
Because we never went out the real
We never went
entrance.
out the regular entrance, as
Oh.
we'll
We were
get
on
to
the
in the
VIP
Patreon
tour.
show. But yeah.
All right.
So they must all be in the same spot up front. There you go. Statues. Go
Statues.
find
Okay,
them.
here we go. We're getting to some big things. The newest restaurant and the coolest. You got to eat up in Space 220 at Epcot, which has looked really cool, Doug. And so give me your full review on that.
It's fun going into space. You took an elevator. I'm pretty sure it feels like it's going fast, but no motion sickness issues. There's a screen you watch as you go up above Florida. Um, and then it's a restaurant, and the food was really good. I enjoyed my meal. It's a fixed price thing. You get an appetizer and an entree. We did lunch. The dinner menu is a little different, but we enjoyed it. It was really good food. I got the pasta, and it was like a lasagna almost. Um, and then you got the steak,
I got the flat iron steak. I'm obviously from Nebraska.
the
I know
home of the flat iron
I
steak.
know my steaks and I
Yeah.
know what a flat iron is. And I just felt like it didn't have enough taste. It didn't have enough, and it was a little bit tough, which isn't normally what a flat iron is. So that kind of
Also,
disappointed me,
we,
but
we are spoiled with Nebraska beef here.
we
I
are
can't
super
eat steak
spoiled,
anywhere else.
right? It's hard, but someone's got to take one for the team.
Yeah,
There you go.
we all got
We all got
different
something
dishes.
different. So, but Doug's pasta was really good.
Really good.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Appetizers kind of, I mean, we didn't get the unique things because we're not
Unique.
seafoody.
No, we're not
Seafoody. I
foodies.
like it.
Alex and Monique got.
yeah.
They got them. They loved them. I don't know.
And they were
There's-
cute and pretty, or like nice
like
looking.
similar to Disney Cruise Line type
Yeah.
stuff.
I got basically a whole head of lettuce on my plate.
Yeah, I don't understand your salad you got. It was like enough lettuce for a large family.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
How,
don't even.
I was
got
wondering
Caesar salad.
via pictures, is it okay? I was looking at it. Is it pretty big, or is it again? It gives me a little bit of a reminder of the sea restaurant by Nemo.
Yes.
Is it like that?
Coral Reef.
Yeah,
Yes,
Coral
but
Reef,
with less levels. There's only 2 levels.
and hopefully
which
more
is
screens. Are there screens all around, pretty
big.
much?
It's like a not 180,
Not quite 180. It was closer.
120 maybe
Yeah.
Okay.
But
screens.
it's from this basically the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah,
they were
they're
big.
huge.
Okay.
But I think they could have added a couple more tiers so more people had front row viewing. You don't want to be right by the screen because they do go up 20 feet, but not that you get too much choice when you're picking your seat all the time. Well, they're picking your seat. But it was cool that not a lot happens on the screens. So maybe more will come.
Hopefully, I know the one thing I did text you, and I love your reply was should have this been in Hollywood studios? I could just imagine like seeing TIE fighters and X-Wings and fighting and something happening could be
Mhm.
just so much better. And I just, part of me feels like it went to the wrong park.
Yes, facts.
I
Okay.
think it would be, I think it would be filled longer. So like right now, obviously there's the push
It's
of
going to be full for a
everybody
year
wants
and a
to see it.
half,
Yeah, but
right?
then after that, I don't know.
Are
Especially
you
if prices continue to go up.
Yeah, you're paying for the food there and the atmosphere, and it's good. The
There are
food
some
is
unique
really good
things to like watch. Like there is a dog,
in a
like
spacesuit.
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
but just but it just doesn't make any sense. So
And you see the spacecraft that you're in for mission space. Those fly by a few times. So that's the theme. That's the universe or world you're in. So, yeah, it was a really good meal though.
All right. Well, should we continue on with good meals? Because I think you got
Yes.
to experience the creperie, de Paris new crepes in the France pavilion. How was that?
Yeah, so there's two restaurants basically. There's a window that you can get crepes at, and then there's the more sit down where you have a server and everything. And we went to the sit down one, and right now they have like a deal. You can get an appetizer and a savory crepe and a dessert crepe for not very much and a drink. So
it
that
was
was
$33.
33. Yeah. Which for the amount of food you got at Disney World at a sit down restaurant was pretty cheap.
And the drink could include a beer. It
Yeah,
was
like
no, it
there
was a
was a
hard cider.
hard
That's what it
cider.
was.
So you could even get alcohol with that. I needed my Diet Coke at that moment though. So we got all different crepes amongst the table. I got the ham and cheese one. There was a chicken one, and then there was a goat cheese mushroom one that were all at our table. The chicken one was by far everyone's favorite. I did enjoy my ham, and it was ham and Swiss. Only complaint was, man, it could have used a little more Swiss, but that's me being picky. Michelle did not have any of those savory crepes.
I had a couple bites of all the others, and definitely the chicken one was the best.
Yeah, super creamy, really good chicken. The crepes were good, so they're buckwheat for the savory ones, so they basically look burnt. Um, I That's a thing, evidently. I've never had a buckwheat crepe here, there, or anywhere. But yeah, it was really good. But dessert is where it's at. I mean,
Yeah, the dessert ones were great.
what did you get?
I got
The banana,
I got the banana one. Yeah,
banana
banana and
and
caramel.
caramel.
Yeah.
Mm,
I got the Nutella one,
gross.
and I did.
I hate
Jeez.
Nutella. Sorry.
Well, good news. There's all kinds of others. There's one with
Yay!
pear.
I'll
There's an
find one I
apple.
like. I'm not worried.
Yeah. So then I did ask, like the Nutella one. I know my kids will want Nutella and bananas, just regular bananas, not the caramelized banana like Michelle had. And they will do things like that. They will add bananas to your. There's nowhere on there was a make your own, which if you go to a crepe cart like on the street in Paris, it's essentially make your own dessert crepe.
Yeah,
Like
but
you look
at
at what they
Disney,
have.
they don't want you to take your time. Yeah, that's just eating up time.
Yeah, so they will do that. I think we only got those two dessert crepes. I
We
think Alex
did.
and
Yeah,
Manu
we got
got
the
the
same
same too.
ones.
There's some times where you're willing to try everything on the menu, and then there's other times like, no, I want this. I don't care.
Hmm.
Um, Crepes are not photogenic, so it tastes 1,000 times better than it looks. I'll just
Okay,
say that.
sounds
And
good.
get a scoop of ice cream to add to it. It really is good.
Now, I'm going to stay in Paris for a second because you got to ride Ratatouille, which just
Oh,
opened up as well. And we'll get to more dining here in a second. But you were there, and I want to hear about the quote unquote rat ride that Doug always calls it. How
I
was it?
can't. I can't spell.
Yeah.
We all know my spelling is bad, so it's just I can't spell ratatouille, so I just call it the rat ride.
You could call it Remy. I mean, that's a
Yeah, I like
better.
that.
It's
That's a
hard
better
to s-
word.
That's hard to spell too.
No, it's not. It's
Wow.
four
All right.
letters.
Anyways, it's really good. It is exactly the same as France.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
Disneyland Paris, France.
Disneyland Paris, yes. Um, Even the dialogue. So it is probably 80% French, 20% English. Would you say that's about
Sure.
accurate? I think that's where it is. So they didn't even re-record. Like I thought they would flip the languages, like where he uses French would become English, where he uses English would become French, and re-record things with Patton Oswalt, and they did not. So it is carbon copy down to the nuts and bolts. But it's a good, fun ride. It is 3D. Um, Imagine if you've done Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the part where you go into the little screen area where you go down the waterfall, but make that 3D. It's like that multiple times where you have a screen in front of you, except there's 3 rats in front of one screen instead of one rat like a Mickey Minnie. So that's kind of what it's like. Lots of details. Lots of details. Practical props, screens, trackless ride.
6 people fit in one
One vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 in the front, 3 in the back.
So it's fun.
So it works for families of 5.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and kids will love it. Is it e-ticket? No. Is it a D? Absolutely.
Okay.
Kind of like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
And it just remember it uses that virtual queue. So at 7 a.m. you have to get on there. You have to have an Epcot Park Pass.
And we're not talking 7 a.m. and 15 seconds, folks. We're talking 7 a.m. You watch the seconds tick off your clock, and you're ready to hit join and just click through as fast as you can. And you have to have an Epcot Park Pass.
So all those tips that you guys have given
Of
listeners
don't
and I've given
need-
clients
yeah.
know for Star Wars,
Wars,
Rise of the
yep.
Resistance. Now just apply that to Ratatouille and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there are the other backup boarding groups that start, not backup, but remaining boarding groups are released at 1. So just like Hollywood Studios, same thing.
Yes. But it was fun, and it's very French.
All right, let's move on. We still got a lot to go
It
through.
should be French.
Okay. Well, another dining. We have a dining, your room review, and of course the big 50th day. So, dining, you also went to the newest Steakhouse 71. Looked pretty good. The food looks amazing. Is it a step above?
Yeah, we did lunch, and the lunch and dinner menu are very different. So it was burgers, grilled cheese. You had a turkey club sandwich.
The steaks are at dinner. So
Yeah,
if
the
you want
steaks are all at
steaks,
dinner.
then
Okay.
that's heavy at dinner.
But the food was really good, I thought. My grilled cheese was really good. It had brisket on it, as all grilled cheeses should.
I agree.
The burger was really good. We all got different things, cut them up and shared. So the burger was probably the best, followed by the grilled cheese.
I really liked my turkey club. It was safe. So theme park food in the heat.
Yeah.
It's safe.
And Alex got the other sandwich,
Prime rib sandwich.
prime rib sandwich. That was probably our least favorite.
For
I
a
think they changed
steakhouse, you should figure out prime rib.
Yeah, well, it wasn't dinner time, but
Okay.
I think it was too much bun.
It was like a
And-
thick, hard bun.
Yeah, it was the wrong bun, which
The
easy
appetizers-
adjustment.
Appetizers were good too. Onion rings.
Yes, onion
Good.
rings were good.
And
Caesar
then-
salad thing was
Yeah,
cool.
really good.
So we enjoyed the appetizers there. There's a 14, 15 layer chocolate cake. It's 15 layers because that's how many stories the contemporary is.
Oh, I like it. So, and also
Yeah.
all ADR right now, Michelle, how's that been booking for people?
That one, I mean, not too hard because it's outside of a park, it seems like, but it actually does take reservations. So unlike the creperie, you do need reservations.
Okay.
The
Yes.
creperie is just walk
You
up right
walk
now.
up, it's like going to Applebee's.
I
would have gone
say
a little
no.
bit higher than Applebee's, but
yeah, it's more. Yeah.
all right, let's
No
move on.
comment.
You're already in the contemporary eating, but you guys also stayed at the newly revised contemporary rooms because you were there when it literally fell apart and water sprayed into your hotel room, and now it's a hilarious story. So, but now they're rethemed to The Incredibles, and I watched your room resort tour. I had my own thoughts, but Doug, what about you and Michelle? What are your thoughts of the Incredible rooms?
First off, we were definitely the first people to stay in the room since the remodel. That's
That specific room.
that specific room. They're gradually opening rooms up, and there's lots of construction still going on. The room was cool. I really liked it. It's open. It's bright. That's what I like. More outlets than you can shake a stick at. They added the little nightstand table to the other side of the bed, so not just the end table in the middle, but there's a little platform for your phone with 2 outlets and 2 USB ports, so no excuses to not charge your phone. Um, so on that front, wins, and more wins. The theming is actually way more subtle than the Moana Polynesian rooms, like a billion times more subtle.
Yeah. They showed a character pillow in like the
That's
previews.
not
It
even,
wasn't in these rooms.
no.
It may not have been on the club
We're
floor,
club
though.
level, so maybe that's
I don't know,
changes
but
things.
yeah, it was very subtle. Just with like some masks on the pillow, like some
Like a whole
Incredible
bunch of
masks.
masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
eye masks.
And then like there was a lamp that had the Incredible kind of theming to it.
Yeah.
2 of those, but
the most themed things were the wall of the closet and the lining of the drawer.
yeah, and then the curtain.
And the
There's
curtain.
2 different Incredible curtain type things you could do.
Yeah. The curtain's still pretty subtle though, compared to what's over
right.
at Polynesian.
Yeah.
Like
Not very busy.
no, very subtle. They opened up the space a little more. They got rid of that weird, awkward desk that had been in there forever that kind of eats up space. So there's not really a desk. There's just this table that moves around, which is the same thing the Polynesian had going on. So that's evidently a thing they're getting to.
The couch turns into a day bed, but then after the day bed, after you pull it down, there's still a little bit of the couch left. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
it's
couch
super
like has
long.
an angle.
Yeah.
It's kind of angled. I don't
Kind
even
of
know how
that
to describe it.
1950s
Well,
couch. No,
Yeah,
it makes
they're
sense.
going
Yep.
with that.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my
And-
frustration with the room. I felt like it looked like already outdated from the pictures in the video.
It's retro on purpose.
I get that, but if it's contemporary, like I was like,
But that's the whole theme of the contemporary is
the
now
60s.
retro.
Contemporary.
That is
Yeah.
that is the theme. It matches what's down in the lobby and everything.
Which was redone as well,
Because they,
but not Incredibles. So
yes,
if you don't like
it's not
Incredibles,
you don't see it tell you
contemporary.
open your closet in your room. The bathroom is much nicer now.
The sinks are functional.
function.
Yeah.
oh, that's good.
If
The
you-
counter space.
Yeah, more counter space. Those were the worst sink counter space hotel I think I've ever stayed in.
The shower is good. It has 2 different functions, like almost like a waterfall, not quite as good as the Riviera, but
Yeah, but close.
it seems to be their standard new
It's
shower
like
they
the
put in.
longest
Yeah.
bathtub on earth.
It is long, and
designed
it's
for like
high,
7 foot tall
very
people.
high.
You need a little bit of a
ladder.
pole vault stick to get in if you're short.
I love those bathtubs at Walt Disney World. Not gonna lie.
The big giant ones.
Yes.
And then the toilet room was closed off from the shower and the sink are together.
It did have a weird door into the toilet it was a sliding door, but it came from both directions,
Yeah.
which I don't think I've ever seen that before because I started pulling on one side and all of a sudden a door starts coming from the other way and I'm not gonna lie, I startle easily and it got me. That's why I'm not going to Halloween
Doug.
Horror Nights ever, because if that scared me, then Lord knows. But the room was great. Love the contemporary still.
And it's important to note that these are not in the garden wing, garden view
Garden
areas
Wing
at all.
has the classic.
Only in the tower rooms, club and regular tower rooms.
Yes.
Bay Lake and theme park view.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you want a trip and you want to stay there and you love The Incredibles, Michelle will hook you up.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. The last but not least, the biggest thing of them all, you were there on the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. You were in the Magic Kingdom. I saw some great videos from people. It looked busy. So let's just go through your day. How was the 50th? You had to, of course, rope drop.
So that was the day we actually moved into the contemporary. So we drove over there, parked at 5 a.m., and then stood in a line in the Bay Lake Tower parking lot. That was probably 200 to 300 people deep at 5:15 a.m. And then they moved us over there, 5:45-ish. And they opened the park super early. We're down Main Street super early.
They started running the buses around 4:45.
Yeah, like
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they were moving people around with a purpose early in the morning. Let us into the park early in the morning. We got a picture on Main Street, found a place on the hub that we thought would be good to watch. They had the front half of the hub blocked off, so you couldn't go past the actual hub, like the planter area, the cement between the castle. I'm horrible at describing this, but that was blocked off, and there was some some of the Main Street vehicles there. Eventually, Minnie came out and stood on top of one of the Main Street vehicles.
It
Other
was a
characters
parade
were out
float.
there. Oh, a parade float. See, that's how observant I was that early in the morning. I hadn't had my caffeine. So that was blocked off. So we're ready for something. And they came out, got on the parade float, waved at people for like a half hour. She literally
Yeah.
waved for a half hour. And then they drove off. And then after they drove off, they opened up that front area. They took down that rope and everybody moved forward, where we stood for about 15 minutes. And then they did, and at this time, the early park entry, if you're staying on property, you could already be on rides. So we could have been like knocking out rides.
But no one was there for
No one
rides
was there
that
for
day.
rides, not a soul. And then they did the theme park, the regular opening.
Oh, nothing special?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
I saw that on Twitter. It
Nothing.
actually blew my mind.
Which
Zero.
like you had your group of craziest fans, supporters. It was their chance to essentially address, their patrons and be like, thank you for the support. 50 years wouldn't have been possible without you. That's all somebody had to say.
And like maybe read like some
Read the dedication.
Yeah, just
Acknowledge it happened. I get it. They did that sort of stuff in the live stream the night before.
That does not.
But that's not
acceptable.
the same as talking to the people.
Yep.
Right?
I mean, they even
this
did
would be-
for Hollywood Studios 30th. They had things happening.
We got a special map as we came in. And then when you left the park, you got a poster. And so Alex and I left the park 4 times. Am I not supposed to say that? Yeah, we just went back in and came
Doesn't
back
matter.
out.
They still had some at the.
They had
towards
them at the end of the
day.
night too, so not too worried. But yeah, so
I expected like a
that
button
was
when we walked
something
in,
else.
like a I'm celebrating button. I
Not
don't know.
even.
And my standards were low, but they were even. This was the only disappointing thing of the entire trip.
Yeah, the fact that we got up at 4 something in the morning for absolutely nothing. And like I know when I can't remember if it was 45 or their 40th maybe, everybody that was there that day got a piece of cake.
Yep.
And
It could have been
someone's
like a pre-wrapped candy bar.
something. Just
They're trying to save
you know,
money. They could have made you spend money.
It's not
Actually,
a
they
day to save money. They were making enough. So also at that time, you could join virtual queues for merchandise. I think Alex got in the virtual queue for the Dumbo's tent merchandise,
Which was like where the pass holder stuff was and the actual 50th anniversary stuff.
yes.
The mass of people I saw in the Emporium was on a different
Emporium
level.
was that's a whole different.
What
group of
time did
people.
that? What time did that
Yeah.
open? I was curious.
As soon as it
6:20 was when the 6:15, 6:20 is when we got let in.
right when we let in,
Yeah.
it was.
I saw
chaos
stuff popping
from
up on eBay at about 8 a.m. So yeah, there you
and-
go. Blew my mind.
Our line to get in, the tap style, didn't go very fast. There's a couple that did not have park passes. They weren't getting in. So that was held up our line. So the eBayers were already all in there. It was nuts. But then we left the park because we're like, what else are we staying for? Because we had the VIP tour later in the day. So we left, and as soon as we walk out of the tap style, well, actually, it was the second time we had left, Alex gets the text that, oh, we're into the merchandise tent. So we went back in, walked all the way back to Dumbo, and that was not, like, they've been releasing merchandise for like a week and a half. Like they released some ears the other
ears
week.
I wanted.
The ears Michelle wants. They released a polo the other week. That's the polo I wanted, and I think Alex, because we want to be twinsies, and we never once saw those the whole time.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff we wanted we never found.
Meanwhile, we didn't talk about this, but like food, you literally couldn't get food unless you stood in a huge long line because all of the mobile orders were pushed because everyone they didn't have anything
There.
to do. They kind of expected to, a show or something. They ordered their mobile orders and like it was already at like 1 when we left and we left at like 10.
Yeah.
So you literally couldn't get food unless you stood in a huge line.
And the
Um,
popcorn. If anyone had a child that's like, Mom, I really want popcorn.
Not
And
happening.
you're like, okay, let me go get it. The popcorn lines were hundreds of people at all of the carts to get the buckets. The buckets were still there the next day. Just FYI, anybody that was worried about getting a bucket.
And then there was a huge line for pins too, like the
The
pin traders in
the
I saw
Frontier.
that
the
pin traders actually
outpost,
sold out. I
yes.
saw.
In the
There's like
outpost
thousands of people.
in Adventureland. However, the next day at Epcot, guess what you could get? The October 1st 50th anniversary exclusive, like, so I don't know why you could get them at Epcot, but they were there the next day. That was the longest line though for the pins. It was insane. So like you asked me for pictures of merchandise.
Yep.
We went in the Emporium on the 2nd. We rope dropped it. And even then, the center of the Emporium is where all the 50th stuff was at. It was like chaos in there.
It's like Black Friday.
I just stood out slightly outside of it.
I saw
Michelle
a
went
fight.
in.
I saw a fight break out on a couple people's posts. Like it was
That was on the
insane.
first. There was an actual fight over cups. A cup which Michelle purchased on the 2nd.
Yeah,
so
for
that's a good thing
one
they
of my
got
clients
the fight.
begged me to get it.
Also, pandemic. I mean, still elbow to elbow. I mean, there was it didn't exist in there.
But outside of that 50th area, the Emporium was empty. So it was funny seeing all these people stand in line to check out in that area. And like you walked up to the front of the Emporium and you walked right up to check out. It was pretty entertaining.
Well, and I love how you texted me. You're just, and I know the whole world's understaffed right now, but you felt like they just needed more people to be working at Walt Disney World at the Magic Kingdom that day.
They were all running Kite Tails.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah, all those people needed to come over and help out. Yeah, because even at I don't know what time they actually shut down the park. Like even if you're trying to park hop, you couldn't even get into the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, at a certain point they shut down the park. We were on our VIP tour when that notification came through, but we had a park pass and we were in earlier, so the fact that it just closed to hopping.
Yep.
So basically, if you didn't have a Magic Kingdom park pass, you're not getting in.
And there were quite a few people that thought that's what their plan was going to be because they couldn't get a Magic Kingdom one in the morning. And it just depends on it if they hopped at the right time.
But I don't know what time people started waiting for fireworks, but I'm guessing it was shortly after. Actually, there was already tripods set up when we left at 10 a.m.
Makes sense. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me
I don't
at
know
all.
what
It
else.
would have been hot.
A long day.
So hot.
You want that e-ticket spot? Just blows my mind how many people were there.
Shoulder Child probably came and stood right in front of them. But there was a lot of people. Wait times were non-existent in the Magic Kingdom. They were just all in line for pins and buckets.
Which I thought was hilarious. I looked on the app and I just couldn't believe it. You could have done everything.
And then you see people there that are like just on their vacation and they're there on October 1st. And you're like, how did they get a park pass? Like, how did that work? Because park passes disappeared. Then they reopened, it disappeared. Like, how did the average
I couldn't even get one. So there you go.
Day?
I failed.
You did.
I did.
I kept texting you when things were open.
I know.
But I was trying to make you not fail. But yeah, like, and great day to be at Hollywood Studio or Animal Kingdom.
Sure.
Yeah, because there was nothing.
Oh, yeah, because you were on a
Harmonious
VIP tour, so you got to see the other parks.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about more here on Patreon,
empty.
but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a good day, though, other than the lack of anything in the morning. I mean, how much does it cost the company for the CEO to come out on a stage and say, welcome, thank you, goodbye? 5 minutes of it, like
that just blows my mind.
The most frustrating thing for me was that he was back doing interviews.
They were there,
but only like 30 minutes later. So I mean, he plenty of time to go up on stage and just say hi.
I mean, he was on Good Morning America.
I don't know how
there.
people weren't booing him.
I wanted to boo him, but somebody kept telling me not to.
Yeah. Also, this is just funny and this is a side bit, but maybe it will help somebody else laugh that was there that day. But the night before when we were watching Enchantment from the Polynesian beach, I was watching.
Everybody had the live stream.
I was watching the live stream and lots of other people were too, but the closed captioning person called him Bob JPEG.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
That is forever his name.
He is now
JPEG.
Bob JPEG
Yeah.
Oh,
at our
wow.
house.
Bob JPEG. Yeah. So, in
All
case that
right.
helps anyone else laugh.
I like it. So there you go. 50th, a little bit disappointing, but overall, you had a great trip.
We did. It was a great time.
Yeah, really good. Kind of
And
tiring. We haven't had a tiring trip in a long
no,
time.
and definitely
But
thank you to Alex for being our fairy
yeah,
godmother
that
and
was
hooking us up
amazing.
with viewing areas and a VIP
And
tour
dining
and
reservations.
dining reservations. Like I said, he's a fairy
I
godmother.
didn't have to be a travel agent on this trip. He was my person.
There you go.
It's good for travel agents to take breaks too.
Sometimes you got to, and absolutely, you guys deserved it after the crazy year, and I'm glad you got to be there and celebrate. I'm glad half of us got to be there, so I was jealous, but I had a fun time following along. So if you want to get any of that stuff that Doug had posted, and he's going to be posting more throughout this week, follow us, all the things at Rope Drop Radio. And of course, if you want to go take a trip during the 50th, because it's going to last a year and a half, you got to book a trip with Michelle. So Michelle, why don't you take a minute and talk about getting reservations right now?
Yeah, so if you want to book a trip for next year or even this Thanksgiving or Christmas, there's very limited availability this year, but there's still some. So, contact me for that. Next year, though, it's time to plan in advance. So spring breaks, there's even some resorts that are already sold out for certain dates. So it's time to plan. My email's michelle@touringplans.com. And then on social media, I'm at Rope Drop Queen on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Perfect. And how far out are you able to book right now?
Through the end of December 2022.
There you go. Plenty of time. I mean, we're trying to book more trips as we speak. So definitely we'll talk more about that. And then we're going to talk about your VIP tour on Patreon. So if you want to hear that, click that in the show notes. And again, thank you guys so much. My favorite part of this is that, Doug, you actually got me a poster.
I did. I got you a poster. That's why I went back in and came back
And a
out.
map, too.
And a map and a pass holder pin.
Ooh, you are the best. That's what we talked about that on a previous show on our what Doug needs to do. So thank you, Doug and Michelle, for getting that stuff to me. So I didn't miss out completely. But there you go. We'll talk more about the VIP tour. But thank you, Michelle and Doug. I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.